little closer. Can we chat? Have you ever woken up wondering whatever happened to that fun-loving, happy, exciting person that you used to be? Or maybe you're the person that fell asleep last night crying, wondering how you're going to stop that Groundhog-style day from happening just one more time. If this is you, I want you to know you're not alone. My name is Amy Fuentes, and I'm an author and transformational speaker. I have helped tens of thousands of people transform their lives. But to be honest, it wasn't that long ago that I was right where you are now. You see, I was feeling incredibly boring, that I had nothing really interesting to say, that I felt totally worthless and invisible. And I also felt pretty darn lonely, even though I'd been surrounded by people every day. You know, have you ever been to a party or an event and you're surrounded by all these people and yet you felt incredibly alone? Well, that was me every day. You see, I had totally and completely lost touch with who I am, what I wanted, and to be honest, if I had known, I don't think I could have figured out how to get in anyway. It kind of reminds me of that movie Runaway Bride with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, where she's engaged multiple times and each time she runs down the aisle when it comes time to actually make the commitment. And Richard Gere comes to interview her because she is once again engaged, and through talking with her and getting to know her, he realizes that she doesn't really know who she is. As a matter of fact, she doesn't even know how she likes her eggs. And back then, I didn't even know how I liked my eggs. Now, I know how I liked them when I was younger, and I certainly know how I prepared them for my family, but I had no idea how I liked my eggs at that point. And that started my transformational journey. And I studied for the last 5+ years with some amazing, world-renowned transformational coaches like Tony Robbins or Lisa Nichols, Les Brown, Mel Robbins. There's just too many to name. But I've learned a ton of information that I have used to implement in my own life to change my life as well as helping others change theirs. And I am so very excited because I have figured out a way to take all that information that I have learned over the last 5+ years and condense it down to 3 days. Yeah, you heard me right. 3 transformational days. Because let's face it, life is way too short for you to spend one more moment, one more stinking Groundhog-style day wondering who you are, what you want, and how you're gonna get it. So I've teamed up with some amazing industry experts and put together a holistic, all-inclusive, 3-day transformational women's retreat, October 11th through the 13th in Tuscany, Italy, where you will learn how to transform your body from the inside out through healing foods and nutrition. Plus, you'll learn transformational movement. Now, we're not going to ask you to get into those, pretzel shapes, but if you can, more power to you. We're also not going to ask you to run a marathon, but if you can, that's awesome. The movements that you'll be shown will be able to be done no matter what your fitness level. And lastly, you'll get all the wisdom, the tips and tricks and hacks that I have learned over the last 5 years in order to transform yourself in 3 days. Now, I don't know about you, but I've gone to a lot of workshops and webinars and events, and they give you a ton of information, and I take copious notes. And I go home and I'm left to implement all the strategies and tactics on my own, and that's where I fall short. You see, I find it difficult and I end up having a lot of questions. So the team that I've assembled, we've come up with an incredible program that will transform you from the day you arrive. Yes, we're going to give you the tips and tricks, but we're going to have you implement them starting from day one so that you can practice and perfect the things that we're teaching you, plus get all your questions answered. So, if you're ready to stop feeling like you're boring and invisible, if you no longer want to feel worthless and instead feel interesting and that you're contributing to a society in the way in which you would like, if you are no longer wanting to feel like you're lonely and instead feel deeper connections with people who are going through the same transformational journey as you are, and most importantly, if you want this year to be different than last year, then you're gonna have to do something different that you haven't done and click the button below. Now, why are you still here? Click the button. Now, maybe you're saying to yourself, I can't spend 3 days away from my family, or it's just not in the calendar, or spending any kind of money on myself, that's just not in the budget. I don't know if you know this, but it is your birthright to be happy and feel fulfilled. And when you are, you exude that happiness and impact everybody that is around you. Your family, your friends, your coworkers, everyone. So you owe it to them to be the biggest, baddest, boldest, bravest version of yourself. And click the button below. If not now, when? Stop hesitating. Click. All the details are on the next page. I look forward to seeing you in October in Tuscany.